Horus Lupercal, the Emperor's greatest son, the Imperium's greatest traitor, the wound that never healed, of the 20 Primarchs created by the Emperor of mankind. Horus Lupercal was the first to be rediscovered, found on the world of Chthoniya. He had grown from the scattered infant into something the Emperor immediately recognized as extraordinary, not just in power, which all Primarchs possessed, but in completeness. Horus was the finest general the Imperium had ever seen, a diplomat who could talk worlds into compliance without firing a shot, a warrior who could end wars with his presence alone, a leader who inspired total loyalty in every man who served under him, from the lowest mortal soldier to his brother Primarchs. The Emperor gave him the Lunar Wolves, the legion created from his genetic template. For 2 centuries, Horus led them across the galaxy at the head of the Great Crusade, reunifying scattered human worlds under the Imperium's banner. He conquered 10,000 worlds. After the Ulunar Crusade, the greatest imperial victory against the Orcs in history, the Emperor named Horus Warmaster, supreme commander of all imperial military forces, second only to the Emperor himself in power and authority. The Lunar Wolves were renamed the Sons of Horus in his honor. Then the Emperor left. He returned to Terra to pursue a secret project, the construction of a psychic webway that would allow humanity to travel the galaxy without risking the warp. He told no one what he was doing or why. He simply departed, leaving Horus to run the crusade alone, leaving his sons to wonder what they had done to make their father turn away. That silence would cost everything. The corruption of Horus did not begin with a choice. It began with a wound. On the moon of Davin, Horus led his forces against the planetary governor, Eugene Tember, who had fallen to chaos and raised his forces in rebellion. During the fighting, Tember wounded Horus with a blade called the Anathem, a weapon tainted by the power of Nurgle. The wound refused to heal. Horus's superhuman immune system could not fight it. His apothecaries could not treat it. The first chaplain of the Word-Bearers, a man named Erebus, had orchestrated the entire incident. He had arranged for Tember to have the Anathem. He had arranged for the Davinite Serpent Lodge, a chaos cult operating in secret, to be presented to the Mournival, Horus's inner council of 4 captains, as the only hope of saving their Primarch. The Lodge used sorcery. The Emperor had banned sorcery. In their desperation, the Mournival agreed anyway. During the rituals in the temple on Davin's moon, Horus's consciousness was pulled into the warp. What Horus saw was a vision of the future, shaped and edited by the Chaos Gods, designed to break him. He saw the Imperium 10,000 years forward. The Emperor worshipped as a god by billions of ignorant, fanatical humans who had forgotten everything the Great Crusade had fought for. The Primarchs forgotten, their names reduced to religious iconography, their deeds turned to myth and prayer. The Space Marines reduced to monasteries of warrior monks, serving a corpse on a rotting throne. Humanity ground down by endless war, endless suffering, endless darkness. The Chaos Gods presented all of this as the inevitable result of the Emperor's plan. The Emperor had never intended to share power with his sons. He had always planned to ascend to godhood, to use them to conquer the galaxy and then discard them. The Chaos Gods presented themselves as victims of the Emperor's ambition, beings who only sought to help Horus prevent the tyranny his father was building. It was manipulation, half-truths woven round real grievances. The future Horus saw was real. The interpretation he was given was not. He did not know. He was already resentful. The Emperor's departure had hurt him. The silence about Terra felt like abandonment. The vision confirmed what the darkest part of him had already begun to suspect, that he had been used, that his loyalty had been taken for granted, that everything he had built and bled for would be handed to lesser men, while his father ascended beyond them all. He woke from the vision a different man. Horus returned to his legion changed. The warp corruption grew in the weeks that followed, feeding on his resentment, amplifying his doubt. He began to plan. He was methodical. He applied the same genius that had won 10,000 worlds to the project of bringing the Imperium down. He converted Angron of the World Eaters, exploiting that Primarch's hatred of the Emperor, who had refused to remove the torture devices implanted in his brain. He turned Fulgrim of the Emperor's children, corrupted by a demon weapon and the promise of perfection that Slaanesh offered. He turned Mortarion of the Death Guard. He recruited Conrad Kurz of the Night Lords, Perturabo of the Iron Warriors, and Alfarius Omegon of the Alpha Legion. He converted the Fabricator General of the Adeptus Mechanicus, Kelbahal, bringing the Forge World of Mars and its weapons factories to his cause. The three legions who could not be swayed, the Dark Angels, the Blood Angels, and the Ultramarines, were sent on missions far from Terra by the Warmaster. Removed from the board before the game began, everything was in place. Horus moved to Isstvan III. The Isstvan system had declared rebellion. Horus was sent to suppress it. He used the opportunity differently. Within his own legion and the others under his command were warriors who remained loyal to the Emperor. Horus identified them, gathered them, and sent them to the surface of Isstvan III as the vanguard of the assault. Then he virus-bombed the planet. The Life-Eater virus consumed everything biological on the surface within hours. Millions of civilians died. Thousands of loyal Space Marines from 4 legions died with them, purged before they could warn anyone of what was coming. Some survived the initial bombardment and fought back from the surface against their own brothers in orbit. The battle lasted 70 days. When it ended, the last loyalists were dead, and Horus had clean legions, stripped of every warrior who might have reported his treachery to the Emperor. The heresy had begun. Word reached the Emperor. 7 loyal legions were dispatched to Isstvan V. The Iron Hands, the Salamanders, and the Raven Guard landed first and established a beachhead. 4 more legions were to land behind them in support. They landed behind them and opened fire. All 4 were traitors. The loyal legions were caught between Horus's forces from the front and their supposed allies, cutting them down from behind. The Primarch of the Iron Hands, Ferrus Manus, was killed. The Salamanders and Raven Guard were nearly annihilated. Tens of thousands of loyal Space Marines died at Isstvan V in a single day. There was no longer any secret. Horus had declared open war on the Emperor and the Imperium. 9 years. That is how long it took Horus to drive from Isstvan to the gates of Terra. 9 years of campaigns across the galaxy. Traitor legions and corrupted Imperial army forces burning world after world, while the loyal side scrambled to hold lines with forces weakened by a war they had not seen coming. Horus won battle after battle. He was still the greatest military commander alive, now freed from the moral constraints that had once shaped how he fought. The warp had been consuming him since Davin. The 4 Chaos Gods poured their power into him, each claiming him, each fighting the others for his soul. He was becoming something beyond a Primarch, something vast and barely recognizable as the warrior who had once stood at his father's side. Horus brought his fleet to Terra. The siege of the Imperial Palace lasted months. The defenders, led by Rogel Dorn of the Imperial Fists, held the walls while the Emperor remained inside, bound to the psychic project beneath the palace. The walls eventually broke, with victory almost in reach. Horus learned that loyal reinforcements were days away from Terra. If they arrived, the siege would fail. He lowered the shields of his flagship, the Vengeful Spirit. He opened himself to the Emperor. A challenge without words, daring his father to come and face him rather than wait for rescue. The Emperor came. Sanguinius reached Horus first. The Primarch of the Blood Angels fought his corrupted brother with everything he had. Horus, empowered by all four Chaos Gods simultaneously, killed him. The death of Sanguinius would scar the Blood Angels psychically for 10,000 years. The Emperor confronted Horus. The Emperor held back. Even now, even knowing what Horus had done, he could not bring himself to destroy the son he had created and loved above all others. Horus, empowered beyond hesitation, tore through the Emperor's defenses and inflicted wounds that should have killed him outright. The death of Sanguinius broke the last restraint. The Emperor stopped holding back and struck with the full force of everything he was. Horus was destroyed, not killed, destroyed completely. His soul annihilated so thoroughly that not even the Chaos Gods could ever resurrect him. The Emperor was carried from the Vengeful Spirit by Primarch Vulcan of the Salamanders and placed on the Golden Throne, a machine built to sustain his dying body and keep the Astronomicon burning. He has been there ever since. 10,000 years, not alive, not dead. Sustained by the daily sacrifice of 1,000 psychers fed into the machine to keep him from ending. The Warmaster who had conquered 10,000 worlds and turned against the father who made him left behind an imperium that would never recover. Ruled by a god who cannot speak. Defended by warriors who worship a man who never wanted to be worshipped. Fighting a war that began with one man's wound on a cursed moon and has never ended. Horus won nothing. He lost everything. And the galaxy has been paying for it ever since.